A very good morning to all of you. Today again we have assembled in the second day of our two-day International E-Conference on Environment and Sustainability. Yesterday we observed and we were a part of a prestigious group of panelist experts who helped us know a lot of different things regarding environment and sustainability. Today, we have our speakers, Dr. Stefano Vignudely and Dr. Gautam Chandra, our plenary speakers who would be delivering the lectures. So, right from the start, let us introduce Dr. Stefano Vignudely. Dr. Stefano Vignudely has over 25 years of scientific experience in the area of satellite remote sensing, that is radar altimetry in particular, for studying oceans and inland waters. Major interests include processing methods for data analysis, validation with local field observations, multi-sensor synergy exploitation. Most significant accomplishment has been to lead development of satellite radar altimetry in challenging areas, for example, the coastal zone, to provide improved measurements for water level research and applications. He is one of the organizers of a regular series of coastal altimetry workshops and co-editor of the Springer book, Coastal Altimetry, which includes 20 chapters and 70 contributing authors. He is also co-author of 3 chapters of books and over 50 publications, 19 in peer-reviewed journals. He is coordinator, partner, and evaluator of various scientific projects. He is a member of organizing and scientific communities and international societies like AGU MTS. He is actually associate editor of Elsevier Advances for Space Research Journal and vice president of Pan Ocean Remote Sensing Associations. We welcome Dr. Stefano. Kindly, sir, please deliver your plenary lecture for today, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to upload presentation. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, do you see my presentation? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. It is
Yes, sir, we
visible,
can see.
sir.
Okay.
We can see, sir. It's
Do you
visible,
see
sir.
my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We can see your presentation, sir.
Okay, so I can start.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. No, because this is the first time I use this video conference system. Most of the time I use the Zoom. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, respected colleagues and organizers, good morning to everybody. My name is Stefano Vignudely. I'm an engineer as background, and I work for the National Research Council of Italy, and I'm a senior scientist at present. So it's a great pleasure to join this event, and let me express my sincere thanks to Professor Parta. I met him last year in Rome during a conference with the same subject. And so he proposed me to come to India in person, and for me was very happy to come. But now with the COVID pandemic, we switched to this online conference. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about observing the ocean environment from satellites. I've been working on this topic for more than 25 years, and my special topic is radar altimetry to measure sea level. So I will do all my best to attract your attention, because the audience is very broad, so different expertise, so not expert in the field. So my aim is to launch some messages to you in order to maybe work together in the future. First of all, a few words about the Sustainable Development Goals. That achieve these goals is very challenging. Why? Because most of these goals are difficult to quantify. So just to give you two examples, no? How we know if gender equality is advancing in a specific country? How do we know if we are doing enough action on fight climate change? So it's very difficult to provide an answer. This is why the United Nations established targets and indicators. And here I'm providing you a few examples. For example, the proportion of time spent on unpaid domestic and care work by sex, age, and location, or the proportion of local government that adopt and implement local disaster risk reduction strategies in line with the national programs. But how to measure these proportions? So, of course, we need resources. We need homogeneous data, and we need also a good coverage of this data in a specific area. And it's clear that traditional in situ surveys are spotting by nature, because we go in specific place only to get this measurement. And the new possibility of put sensor on remotely on platforms provides the opportunity to expand at a larger geographical scale. So, in fact, today, satellites, airborne airplanes, drones complement the in situ data, providing a picture at global, regional, and the local scale. The situation today is that we have more than 600 satellites orbiting around the Earth, and around 40% of the collecting data are used by scientists to make scientific investigation and application. Of course, this means that we have terabytes of data to be processed, collected every day. And in the past, this was a very big limitation to exploit this data. But now there are cloud-based processing platforms. I'm giving here two examples like Google Earth Engine, Amazon, and Web Service, that this platform permit researchers to scale up the analysis across space and time. So why remote sensing is important? It's important because we can detect recurrent patterns, for example, in terms of land usage. We can detect changes over time. For example, in some areas, see if the pollution is increasing, decreasing. And then we can also get a proxy of something happening. For example, in nighttime, if we measure the light from satellites, this can be related to the energy consumption. So now there is a lot of scientists trying to integrate this remote sensing observation to provide information for decision making. So information that also can be used to monitor, track, and quantify the sustainable development. Okay, as I told you before, my expertise is especially in oceanography, so looking the ocean from satellite. You see in this picture that why satellites are very important, and there was a very big revolution since we had this measurement, because if you go to the ocean with traditional in situ survey, you need to put a lot of moorings, stations, so this is not feasible. And of course, the ocean is very important because it covers 70% of the Earth's surface. The ocean is a source of food, energy, what we call now the blue economy. Ocean is also a slow system, and therefore is a fundamental component of the Earth's climate. So we need to observe and monitor the ocean over the time to understand its dynamics. And the satellites give a convenient, privileged viewpoint from the top. Also beyond political barriers, because satellites can fly everywhere in the world. So this is an important aspect. And you see on the right picture important ocean parameters that can be measured from space, like temperature, color, level, and so on. So as I told you, the satellite observation provide a synoptic picture of the ocean that can be 100 kilometers to 10,000 kilometers wide, with a spatial resolution from meters to kilometers. So the same area can be revisited frequently or after day, for example, and the coverage is global, and satellite can provide measure even where rarely the ship can go, in very remote region. So there is a single sensor consistent. So everywhere we use the same sensor and the same calibration. So there are no uncertainties. When you use in situ data, one of the problems to compare data, for example, in different countries, is that there is no consistency. And we can also measure some parameters that are not observable with the in situ surveys. A few examples are the surface roughness of the sea due to the wind and wave, and the surface slope. So I'm just show you some example. I don't want to put some technical aspect, but showing what we can get from satellite observation. Allora, you see here an image of sea surface temperature taken from MODIS optical sensor on board the Aqua satellite. The area of investigation is the Gulf Stream, and the image provides a synoptic view of a large area. So it is an image for oceanographers rich of information, because you see that the current does not look like a river, but there's a lot of meandering and associated activity in terms of fronts, eddies, and so on. So this is important because this kind of image can be taken regularly, and so the oceanographer can infer important information about the dynamics of the Gulf Stream current. So now I want to show the fact that we can revisit the same place over the time. And here you have a sequence of sea surface temperature. They are taken from the microwave radiometer, and the frequency of this satellite is 6 days. The area of investigation here is the South Africa, and the observed phenomenon is the Agulhas current. Here, the Atlantic and India waters mix, and the satellite permit to document the variability of this mixing, because you see every 6 days how the warm water, the mixing changes between the two different oceans. This is one important example of application over the time of the technique. And here you see that the importance of satellite observation compared to traditional observing system, like, for example, the ships of opportunities, that we can put sensor and collect data. You see in the upper, in the right part, that stretch. This is important image. Maybe some of you, they are biologists, already seen. That is from the ocean color, the color of global areas that are associated to the local high productivity. So the image provides what we expect. Is higher around the coast, where nutrients wash into the ocean from the land. We have also other vertically. So the deep water come up to the surface, bringing nutrients, and then the surface. So this is very similar to the radiography of the body. Leaks here too, and the other dynamic feature here. But also on the land, there are different patterns. They are related to local phenomena. So SAR is not. I want to tell you that if you go to Google Earth, you see always optical imagery. Why you don't see SAR? Because it is difficult for people to understand. So this is the reason. But SAR is rich of information too. So for expert oceanographer is a tool that is used frequently. Okay. So, as I told you, there are different satellite techniques, ocean color, infrared, SAR, scatterometry, that we don't have time to cover all these techniques here. I just wanted to give a spectrum of what can be seen from satellites. Altimetry. Because radar altimetry is my baby, my topic, because I started working on this, and I want to summarize you what have been done in the last 25 years. So you know that sea level, this map shows the tide gauge coverage worldwide. Each tide gauge provides a time series of sea level changes in a single point with the frequent sampling. But tide gauges are mainly located, you see, around in harbors or in islands. So they are not representative of offshore conditions. And more important, they are sparse. There are gaps. For example, there are regions where there are no data. For example, India here seems not having data, but they probably have, but they don't share with the community. So it's clear that tide gauges are not covering well the total ocean. And this is why altimetry came up to fill the gap. Altimetry is essentially radar that is put on the satellite. The radar sends thousands of pulses that touch the sea surface and go back. And then what you see in this picture here is the radar signal that we get average 100 pulses. It corresponds to around 350 meters along a track. And this is, in the picture here, the receipt to transform the range, the quantity we measure from the radar. So with the radar, we measure the distance between the satellite and the sea surface. Then we use the orbit to refer the sea surface to the reference ellipsoid. And in some application, we remove the tides and the atmospheric effects. And also, we need the auxiliary information like missing surface and mean dynamic topography to compute the quantities of interest to oceanographers. They are the sea level anomaly and the absolute dynamic topography. So you see here that in practice, where we use this technique, the satellite altimetry system is just a more complicated tide gauge. So where we get measurement along this track. This is the Adriatic Sea in Italy, and you see the coverage of two different missions, ENVISAT from European Space Agency, JASON from the US-French mission. So the measurements are taken along this track. I told you before, normally is every 350 meters. The sampling is low, is more than 10 days, but we can densify, putting together multiple missions. The Sentinel-3 constellation that is supported by the European Space Agency and the European Community. We have the new SWOT mission that will be launched in 2022. And it is a new paradigm because from a long track with the SWOT mission, we move to images. So we have a grid, sea level in grids. So you see that altimetry has a long history of development and exploitation. And this is one example, just to explain that sea level anomaly is the typical parameters that oceanographers use in their investigations. It looks like the weather maps. No, I mean, I say this is the weather map of the ocean, because positive. No, you see here we have a blue. Negative, no, they revealed where the level is lower, and the red where the red areas where the level is higher. So positive anomalies are normally associated with warmer waters and the deeper thermocline. The negative anomalies are associated with cooler waters and the shallow thermocline. So the thermocline is the transition layer between warmer mixed water at the ocean surface, a cooler deep water. So you see, this is a map of sea level anomaly global. And so from this map, oceanography can immediately identify the more active areas from an oceanographic point of view. But from sea level, we can also, as now we have a longer data set, to estimate long-term variability, in particular trends. So this is a map showing the sea level trend, so I mean a millimeter per year. And what you see immediately is that the sea level is not rising uniformly everywhere. there is a great variability that the satellite captures. Obviously, some of these trends are related to important changes in the circulation observed since 1996. And these changes are related to, supposedly related to climate change. You see, for example, Indonesia is one of the areas with high positive trend. Also here, you see around India, in this area, it seems to have a higher trend than found in other places. So it will be interesting to understand why. Okay, but the most important impact of sea level is the cost, because when you talk to decision makers, they are not interested in what happens in open ocean, and they want to see at the beach if the level is rising or not, as if the houses they are located around the coast can be in the future submerged by the ocean. So this is important, the area where unfortunately altimetry is more troubled, because when we are in the band from 0 to 50 kilometers, we cannot use the standard product, but we need to reprocess the data. This is what I started using 25 years ago. And when the people usually look at the data in the open ocean, at that time I started looking at the data around the coasts. The people said that I was crazy because there are no data there. Instead, I found a very interesting result. This is why then the people follow me in studying altimetry in the coast, and a new discipline called the coastal altimetry growed. And now we have a community working on this topic. I want to show here, that I wrote a book, Coastal Altimetry. If you are interested, I can send you a copy. We have a website, and we organized regular workshops since 2008. So now we have 12 workshops done. We have a new review papers. The last one is in 2019, published on Survey in Geophysics. So I think with this material, maybe you can have more details about the technique, where the improvements, and also the exploitation. So how altimetry can be useful in the coastal ocean observing seas. So if you are interested, you can come to me. I can give you these articles. So I told you before that the last 50 kilometers is the most important part of altimetry. Well, because of course we are where the people live, and then but it's more complicated here because we have different, we have a global, regional, and local components that accounts for sea level here. And here on the left, I just provide example of local factors like land elevation changes due to the earthquakes, groundwater oil pumping, or morphological changes due to the sediment transport and the land use. But also wave, storm, the change input of fresh water. So it is a much more complicated here to understand than open ocean. And one example I wanted to show you, because this is an area that I'm investigating in the last 10 years. You know Venice, the problem of flooding, and the Italian government is now putting in place a barrier here to protect the city from the flooding. So it is really important to assess in this area the effect of sea level rise. And this is what we have done in the framework of a project funded by the European Space Agency. Because with this project we developed two products, one more large scale and another one more local scale. Though here you can see the details. In this product, essentially, we are going to reprocess all the available data set in the archive. The processing takes into account the calibration, the usage of homogeneous correction, the removal of bias, errors. So I think these are the best product today to study climate scale variation of sea level globally, but also locally in the coastal zone. And so the Venice was one of the testing area of these two products. And I show you some examples. You see here, no, we have tide gauges offshore and inshore. And then we have here, for example, a grid point from the product. Here you see the various sea level time series at the selected place. And what we can see here is that more or less the tide gauge inside the lagoon outside, they give you a value around 6 millimeter per year increase. The altimetry gives 4 millimeters. So if we look at the difference, we have 2 millimeters per year that is related to the length. And in fact, this confirms what the people already measured with the GPS. And in fact, if we consider this picture from a published paper in this period, that is the altimetry era, essentially we got roughly 2 millimeters per year. And this explains the trend of the residuals. So why this is important to put together altimetry and tide gauge? Because this methodology can be used in areas where there are no GPS data. And I can tell you that very, very few places around the world have tide gauges equipped with GPS. So the possibility to use the altimetry in synergy with tide gauge can give an idea of the vertical land motion. And there are areas around the world, here is the Indonesia, because I have a specific project on this area, where these are very dominated by vertical land motion. And big cities like Jakarta are already under the mean sea level. So they are very important to quantify the trend of sea level and the trend of land in changing over the time. So just to summarize, no, here, because I think I want to launch you important message, yes, see how we can cooperate in some way in the future. That the ocean is crucial. So like, especially in terms of climate change, because it is a very important laboratory to study climate change. And the remote sensing, of course, provides important data in a synoptic, repeated way. No other technique can do that. The advantage of these measurements is that we can sample many areas at the same time. We can get wide areas viewed, and we can get measurement based on energy that are not perceptible to human sense. So this kind of measurements can be only done using satellite. So, of course, today remote sensing parameters are used in application at coastal, local, regional scale, and global. to monitor climate change. I show some example with pictures that maybe are more attractive than providing you some equations or algorithms. And you have seen the dynamics, especially the fact that remote sensing can give the temporal scale, the traditional oceanographic campaigns with the ships cannot do. And the remote sensing is obviously a legitimate component of the ocean observing and forecasting system. So the revolution in satellite oceanography is coming now with a new paradigm of thematic platforms that we are developing in Europe, and we'll tell you something later. And about satellite altimetry, that is my research topic, we can get a consistent accuracy, coverage, independent measurements of sea level. We have a 26-year multi-mission record now from open ocean to coast. So it is demonstrated the value of altimetry in ocean science studies application. And the coastal altimetry is a new field of research for sea level study because there is more and more interest in knowing what happens around the coasts. And we have seen a lot of progress since I started working on this topic 25 years ago. And now we have experimental data, we have new data set that mature to support study in different fields, also in biology, in subsidence. So just to give you some example. But the future perspective of ocean remote sensing is linked to development of thematic platform. This is change of paradigm because instead of downloading all the data in your computer using the local software, now we go to this platform in the web where all the data are there. Also the computing is there. So this means that in these archives, not only remote sensing, but also in situ data can be shared, and this is important, especially because we can build community around thematic areas. One example is the coastal zone. Coastal zone remote sensing is part of the puzzle. No? We need also in situ data and other information. So the thematic platform is the hub where the scientists can find all the necessary data to study specific phenomena happening in the coastal zone. So in the coastal zone, we developed a processing platform where data can be accessed, searched in a specific area, and the processing can be uploaded or developed inside the platform and shared also with other scientists. In the platform, also the results can be visualized. So it is a new paradigm of scientific development and exploitation. So this is, okay, that's all. So for me, the remote sensing give a privileged viewpoint to study the ocean, but also the land, because obviously remote sensing can also get information over the land. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful presentation. We would now have the question answer session. I would request Dr. Tiashi Ghosh Jana, State Approved College Teacher of the Department of Zoology, to begin the question answer session.
Thank you, sir. So, remote sensing is a legitimate component of the ocean observing and forecasting system. Thank you, sir, once again for your very interesting and informative speech. We all are spellbound to hear from you. I think definitely it will enrich us. Sir, I have a
Yeah,
question.
okay. Yes.
Yes, sir. Uh, how satellite takes picture or collect data from deep region of sea or ocean?
Okay. Of course, to collect data during night, we use the radars because the optical data, they need the sun to be.
I would just like to
Yes.
interrupt, sir. I'm very sorry. Kindly, please, the presentation is on, sir, of yours, sir. Kindly, so that you can be focused, sir, the presentation. Kindly stop the sharing
Okay.
of the presentation, sir.
Yes. You see now? Okay. You see the presentation? Do you see?
Yes, sir. Kindly stop the sharing of the presentation so that we can telecast it, sir, live the question answer session, sir. Otherwise, the presentation is coming, sir.
Okay. So how to okay, stop here. Fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So to continue, radars are the only sensors that they can see during night and daily time. And even when there is, for example, rain or clouds. Optical sensors have some limitation because obviously they cannot penetrate when there are clouds, and also during the night. They need, if you are in the visible spectrum, we cannot see the ocean, but they can be used in the infrared band, and we can get information to, like, for example, I told you the light. No, the people are trying to see the light in the ocean, in the ocean and the land, to see the activity of economy activity during the night. So try to connect the remote sensing measurement to an indicator, because I think in terms of sustainable development, we need to quantify the achieved goals. So this is not very easy. I mean, you don't have the exact parameters you measure. You need to get different information from different sensors and try to integrate in providing an algorithm for the estimation of an indicator. So this is one of the areas now that is very stimulated. I think in Europe, I don't know in other countries, in Europe is stimulated to extract new information from the remote sensing measure, in addition to the traditional information that we use. I don't know if it cleared the message. So because we are talking about the sustainable development, that is something very generic, and then quantify. To quantify, we need data, measurements. So, and of course, remote sensing is part of the game, in addition to the traditional in situ surveys. So the challenge is how to transform this data in something useful for quantify the achievement of sustainable development goals, as I introduced at the beginning of my talk.
Thank you, sir. Next question, that is, what is the maximum depth at which pollution of marine ecosystem can be detected?
Well, maximum depth, what do you mean, maximum depth? You mean where there are the more polluted areas?
Yes, sir. Most polluted area.
More polluted area, I think that, of course, they are where there are urbanization. And there are, for example, rivers also, where there are rivers, because river can get pollution from the land to the sea. And I think that I don't have a number to give you, no, but it's clear that as you, for example, optical imagery, you can measure chlorophyll in open ocean where there are no pollution, let's say, is very clear. When you go too close to the coast, you in the images you see sediments, you see dissolved substance, so that is related to specific areas and needs to be interpreted. So, of course, with remote sensing, we can evaluate the degree of pollution in a specific area looking at many images.
Okay. Thank you, sir. In the audience, if you have any question, you may ask.
Hi.
Yes.
Thank you so much for also good presentations, Dr. Stefano. How are you? Good.
Thank you. But you mean in limit time is difficult to show a very wide topic?
Yes. So today's topic is also very important for using. So your topic is mainly satellite data. So combined with other areas data. So I would like to examine the relationship coastal water level and afforestation area and carbon sequestration. So now topic is our yesterday I talked about the mangrove afforestation area in Thailand. So in this case, you need to get the sea level data. So for example, before and after forestation. So in Thailand. So for example, 20 years.
26, 27 years.
Yes. So afforestation and reforestation, one term is about 20 years. 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So we will try to check the before and after afforestation. So coastal seawater level and sedimentation levels, and sedimentation level means accumulate carbon, soil carbon sequestration. So I combined with the sea level data and coastal sedimentation level up, and increase of soil carbon content. Yeah.
No, yes, your idea is very sound. I think that in the past the limitation was that maybe in your area you didn't get any sea level data because no tide gauge. Tide gauge carbon, and maybe where you are studying the mangroves, there are no data. Now with altimetry, you can imagine to have some tide gauge there, and you can use this time series and connect with the other parameters to explain what you said before. So if you are interested, I can help you eventually to give you the time series in your area of interest.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody from audience, if you want to ask any question? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Stefano Vignudely. Thank you. Now we have to pass on the next program. Our next speaker is Professor Gautam Chandra. I'm introducing him. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to introduce the resource person of this technical session. In fact, he does not need an introduction to many of us. Still, out of formal ambience of this program, let me introduce Professor Gautam Chandra, one of the most accomplished teacher and researcher of this region in the field of parasitology and vector biology. Professor Chandra began his research journey at Calcutta School of Tropical Medicine in late 80s. His research interest was on medical parasitology, mainly epidemiology, mosquito ecology, and eco-friendly control of mosquitoes. Following receiving his PhD, he joined at Department of Zoology, the University of Burdwan. In his 29 years of teaching and research career, 24 students awarded PhD and 10 students got their MPhil degree under his supervision, and 8 students also pursuing their PhD now. His coveted career is also studied with DSc degree, more than 250 national and international publications as reflected by citation indices. He also published a popular book entitled Mosquito for general readers. He had successfully completed the Leadership for Academicians program, LEAP of MHRD, India, at IIT BHU in 2019, and also participated at Judge Business School, University of Cambridge, UK in this year. He also attended a training course on biology disease vector held at Colorado State University, USA in June 2004. He also filed one Indian patent on green synthesis of mosquito larvicidus. He is a recipient of number of international and national awards. Young Scientist Scholarship Nagasaki 1996, Global BMPAEH Gold Medal Allahabad Central University 2014, to mention a few. He has delivered so many lectures and chaired a handsome number of sessions in international and national symposia, congress, and seminars. He has served as the editor, reviewer of a formidable number of international and national journals. He has served as an honorary consultant of government and non-government organizations like Tata Steel. Actually, his list of accomplishments is so long, but I must restrict myself here for some time constraint. Pardon me, sir, and all of the participants must be eagerly waiting to hear from you. So, over to you, Professor Chandra, sir. Welcome. Welcome, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, kindly present the slide also.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. Okay. Hey,
kindly present the slides.
Yes.
So, thank you, Tiasa, for this nice introduction. And I also want to convey my thanks to the organizers for providing me this international platform to deliver a talk on dengue and its management, which is a problem of the day. Respected Chairman, sir, my esteemed colleagues, Dr. Stefano, Dr. Sakai, and other dignitaries present in this seminar, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, visible, sir?
So my topic. Yes, it is visible. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. I will tell you to change you. So my topic today is dengue and its prevention. Next, please. Next slide. So there is a wing of WHO, which is TDR, Tropical Disease Research, and which has prepared a list of 8 diseases: malaria, filariasis, trypanosomiasis, schistosomiasis, leprosy, kala-azar, tuberculosis, and dengue, which is the target diseases to be eradicated by 2025 by WHO. And you see that dengue has been included in this portfolio in 1999 only. Next, please. This is a newsletter from WHO, which is the proof that the dengue was included in this WHO portfolio in 1999. And there are some underlined areas in this slide you can see by blue underline. So where WHO has been very clearly declared that as the dengue has no drug, any drug against this virus, and as also there is no any vaccine. For this reason, the mosquito control is the only reliable method to control dengue and other some mosquito-borne diseases. Next, please. So what is dengue fever? The dengue fever is an illness caused by infection with a virus transmitted by the Aedes mosquito, which is exhibited either as classical dengue or dengue hemorrhagic fever. Next, please. So a little bit of history. So about classical dengue, it was first reported from Cairo of Egypt and Batavia of Indonesia in 1779. First epidemic in that period in Asia, Africa, and North America. In India, this disease came for the first time in 1824 in Kolkata of West Bengal, and there is mention about dengue in Jivan Smriti of Rabindranath Tagore. Next is dengue hemorrhagic fever, the first report from Philippines, 1953, and in Thailand in 1958, and again it is in India in Kolkata in 1963 only. Next, please. So some information about the epidemiologic situation of dengue. It is endemic in 120 countries throughout the tropics and subtropics. Near about 50 to 100 million dengue cases occurs usually in each year. There are 5 lakh cases of dengue hemorrhagic fever and nearly 20,000 deaths each year. And this is very important to mention that currently 2.5 billion population is at risk of dengue and dengue hemorrhagic fever. Next, please. So this is also a part of epidemiology. Classical dengue is present in vast areas of the world. Dengue hemorrhagic fever is perennial in Southeast Asia, Cuba, Caribbean, and Pacific Islands. And some places of world where dengue is present in a very complicated manner, where a jungle cycle is present between the forest mosquitoes and the wild monkeys in Malaysia and some past parts of actually the lower part of the slide is not visible. I don't know why. And some parts of West Africa. It is okay. Next, please. So there are some reservoirs besides human being. These are I have already mentioned: wild monkeys in Malaysia and West Africa, and flying foxes, scientifically called pteropus, in North Australia. And there are some other migratory birds which are present in Australia and New Zealand. Next, please. So it is to mention that where reservoirs of this virus is present, the disease is presented in a complicated manner. So some information about the virus. This is a member of the family Flaviviridae, and it is under the genus Flavivirus. If you see the structure, there is a glycoprotein envelope with icosahedral capsid symmetry. There are 20 triangles and 12 vertices to construct this icosahedron. The size is 38 nanometer with envelope and 25 to 30 nanometer without envelope. The genome is single-stranded positive RNA ranging from 10 to 11 kilobases. Next, please. This is the structure of the virus. There are some structural proteins and non-structural proteins. The structural proteins to mention envelope protein or E protein, membrane protein, and capsid protein. Capsid is the covering which actually encompasses the nuclear material, single-stranded RNA. And there are 7 non-structural proteins. Mainly those are enzymes: Ns1, Ns2A2B, Ns3, Ns4A4B, and Ns5. Of which Ns1 is very specific to dengue, though there are some repetitions or some similarity with chikungunya and West Nile viruses, but in most cases, NS1 positivity shows it is actually positive for dengue. Next, please. There are 4 serotypes, well recognized: dengue virus 1, 2, 3, and 4. And very recently in 2015, dengue virus 5 has been reported by Mustafa. And a serotype, what is a serotype? A serotype is a grouping of microorganisms or viruses based on their cell surface antigens. And each serotype has a few subtypes or genotypes. And you see the table, the dengue virus 1 has 3 subtypes, genotypes. Dengue virus 2 has 6 subtypes, 3, 4 subtypes, 4 subtypes, and dengue virus 5 not yet reported any subtypes. Next, please. So this is a photography from a culture of dengue virus. Next, please. So now signs and symptoms of classical dengue. The symptoms of classical dengue is very similar to some other viral diseases: fever up to 105 degree Fahrenheit, headache, severe back pain, pain throughout the body, and a very specific pain around the eyes, which is called orbital pain, and joint pains also. Sometimes, actually in most cases, the patients are accompanied by some skin rashes, and this skin, I have shown a picture of skin rash which is very specific to dengue. Sometimes in 2016, WHO has listed a few symptoms which are called warning symptoms, which may be accompanied with classical dengue. Those are vomiting, loose motion, abdominal pain, pleural effusion. Pleural effusion means accumulation of fluid within the pleura. There are 2 layers and within a cavity. So leukopenia, it means the diminishing number of WBC, and thrombocytopenia, diminishing number of platelets, respiratory troubles, etc. And it has also been mentioned that a patient with warning symptom may not present all these symptoms. They may present 1 or 2 or 3 like this. But in case of classical dengue, usually patients are recovered within 7 days without any treatment, with a very simple management like this. But if the patient presents any warning symptoms, the patient should be admitted into the nursing home or any hospital for proper management. Next, please. This is dengue hemorrhagic fever, and DSS means dengue shock syndrome. So there are 4 grades of dengue hemorrhagic fever. G1, first grade, continuous high fever, tourniquet test positive. What is this? Actually, due to dengue infection, the blood capillaries become fragile, and if we give pressure on our skin through this fragile capillaries, the blood oozes out under our skin, and we can see a few drops of blood under our skin. This is called tourniquet test positive. The antibody IgM is positive. Hepatomegaly means increase in the size of the liver and decrease in platelet count. This is grade 1 of dengue hemorrhagic fever. Next, please. This is grade 2, spontaneous bleeding from skin or other hemorrhages. Blood oozes out, especially from gum, from noses, and some other places of the body. Next, please. This is grade 3, circulatory failure rapid and weak pulse, hypotension. Initially, the temperature was 105 degree Fahrenheit, but at grade 3, it is presented as cold skin and restlessness. Next, please. This is grade 4, profound shock with undetectable blood pressure and pulse, and the cause of fetal shock as a consequence of plasma leakage selectively into pleural and peritoneal cavities. This is very important to mention that these 4 grades altogether is called dengue hemorrhagic fever, but only the grade 3 and 4 is called the dengue shock syndrome. So if a patient recovers after stage 2, it usually does not enter into the grade 3 and it is not dengue shock syndrome. If the patient only enters within the grade 3 and 4, it is dengue shock syndrome. But altogether 1, 2, 3, 4 grades are called usually dengue hemorrhagic fever. Next, please. So this is the photography of dengue hemorrhage, initial stage. Next, please. This is another dengue hemorrhage. Next, please. Another dengue hemorrhage. Blood is oozing out from nose, gums, etc. So there are some hypotheses related to dengue hemorrhagic fever. What I want to mean that the causative agent of dengue and dengue hemorrhagic fever are same. That means the serotype 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all these are responsible for both dengue, classical dengue, and dengue hemorrhagic fever. So how a classical dengue is transformed into dengue hemorrhagic fever, a number of hypotheses have been put forward. And the first one is by Halsted in 1981. This is called antibody-dependent immune enhancement theory. And it is telling that if a patient is actually infected by a primary infection of a particular dengue serotype, followed by a secondary infection of a different serotype, then this situation usually arises. And due to the production of antibody of the first infection and again production of antibody against the second infection, this immune enhancement occurs. And in this condition, the situation actually work on the lymphoid tissues, and a few factors are released from the lymphoid tissues which act on our blood capillaries and increases permeability, and blood oozes out and the dengue hemorrhages occur. So this is the first theory by Halsted put forward for dengue hemorrhagic fever, transformation of classical dengue into dengue hemorrhagic fever. Next, please. This is the theory of virulence by Rosen in 1977, and he actually showed that introduction of a specific Southeast Asian genotype of dengue virus 2, when it invaded in America and Thailand, it caused dengue hemorrhagic fever. So the previous one was due to a secondary infection, but this is due to for a single infection of a particular genotype of dengue virus 2, which is actually rampant in the Southeast Asian countries, but when it invaded America and Thailand, it caused dengue hemorrhagic fever, and this is the virus is virulent in those geographical areas. The third school of opinion is theory of genetic difference of the host, and according to them, it does not depend upon the virus or any secondary infection like this, not on the virulence like this, and according to them, this depends upon the genetic makeup of the patient. But in 1998, by Rico Hesse et al., they concluded that both the virus genotype and the secondary infection are important contributing factors in the pathogenesis of dengue hemorrhagic fever. That is the hypothesis number 1, and number 2. These two have been actually accepted as the cause of transformation of dengue, classical dengue, into dengue hemorrhagic fever. Next, please. For the detection of antigen, the Ns1 test is usually done. This is a protein, non-structural protein. So if we get Ns1 positive, then it is assumed that the patient is suffering from dengue virus, and usually this test is done within first 4 days of infection, because after that the virus usually leave our body. So for the first 4 days after the initiation of the symptoms, the Ns1 test is usually done. But after 4 or 5 days, the antigen is usually it does not become positive. So for the patients who are suffering for dengue fever for a few days, they usually antibody test is done, and it is IgM. If IgM is positive, it means the patient is suffering at present due to dengue infection. If IgG is positive, then it indicates that the patient suffered from dengue infection previously. So IgG is the indicator of previous infection, old infection, and IgM is the indicator of present infection. Next, please. At this time, I should when the dengue virus enters in our body, it usually migrates to our RE system, especially the bone marrows. And in the bone marrows, they capture the activity of the megakaryocyte cells, which are the mother cells of platelets, and they arrest their activity. And for this reason, platelets are not produced, and the virus propagate or multiply within these cells, and they back to the bloodstream. As soon as they back to the bloodstream, the infection actually initiated. The symptoms usually initiated, and the patient usually this period is called incubation period. It may be 2 to 8 days. I mean, the initiation of the infection or introduction of the infection to the bone marrow, then again bone marrow to bloodstream. This period is it may vary from 2 to 8 days, and this is called incubation period. And as soon as the blood the virus usually reaches the bloodstream for the second time, the symptoms usually are seen. So it is some information about the treatment. As there is no antiviral drug, so isolation of the patient is not necessary because this is not contagious, but prohibition from mosquito bite, because mosquito is the vector of this virus. Prohibition from mosquito bite for the first 5 days is necessary. I have already mentioned that usually the virus retains in our body for the first five days. So prohibition of mosquito bite for the first 5 days is necessary, and also the Ns1 is usually become positive for those patients who suffers from this virus. So, and the third one is careful management of the fluid and electrolyte balance, because there is no other treatment for dengue and dengue hemorrhagic fever. In case of platelet count is very low, less than 10,000. In those cases, the platelets are supplemented from outside by transfusion. Next, please. So some information of the dengue factor. WHO has already told that we have to know very detail about the dengue factor, because the vector control is the only reliable method to control dengue and some other mosquito-borne viral diseases. So this is the largest genus of the mosquitoes. It is Aedes. Recently, a subgenera has been the name has been changed. Now there are 40 subgenera under this genus, and there are 1,000 species. So this is the largest genus of mosquito. And in 1918, J.B. Cleland, he discovered for the first time natural infection of dengue virus in Aedes aegypti mosquito. So Aedes aegypti was incriminated as the first mosquito species as vector of dengue. And after that, in different parts of the world, it is Albopictus, it is Polynesiensis, it is Cutellaris, it is Niveus, it is Albuminous, and some other species of Aedes have been incriminated as vector of dengue in many tropical and subtropical countries. In India, these two, the first two, dengue, Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, are the recognized vectors. Among them, Aedes aegypti is the urban vector, and Aedes albopictus is the rural vector principally. But nowadays, we actually usually encounter Aedes aegypti in the villages and albopictus in the rural setup of the towns. Next, please. Some information about the Aedes: very small mosquito, 5 to 7 millimeter, beautiful and bright black and white scale on its body and legs, very conspicuous. And there is a lyre-shaped white markings. Lyre is a musical instrument of Greece. So this is a lyre-shaped white markings over the thorax in Aedes aegypti. So very conspicuous. Next, please. This is Aedes aegypti, and the body of the mosquito is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen, 3 parts. And if we see the thoracic part of the mosquito, you see there is a lyre-shaped marking, and the wires of that musical instrument is very conspicuously visible. So if we see this lyre-shaped marking on the thorax of the body, this is Aedes aegypti mosquito. And throughout the body there are white and black scales. So very small mosquito and very clever mosquito. Next, please. This is Aedes albopictus. This is Aedes albopictus, another species, rural vector of dengue, and we can differentiate Aedes albopictus from Aedes aegypti by the presence of a mark of exclamation, note of exclamation on its thorax and head. So if we find a white scale in the form of a note of exclamation, then it is Aedes albopictus. And if we can find the mark of a lyre-shaped marking on its thorax, then it is aegypti. So very conspicuously it can be differentiated. Next, please. Some very important and interesting information about Aedes. It is available at 2286 meter above the sea level on the Himalayas and some other areas of India and other places. The flight range is only 100 to 150 meters. So it is very important because Aedes mosquito of one locality usually do not travel to another locality because their flight range is very limited, 100 to 150 meter. The egg laying capacity is 140 per batch. Actually, mosquitoes, the female mosquitoes only feed on blood for the necessity of some proteins and vitamins for the development of their fertilized eggs. And usually they suck blood, they become gravid, and after 3 or 4 days they lay the first batch of egg, then again fly outside to get next blood bill. Again after 3 and 4 days they lay their eggs. So they lay eggs in batches. So for each batch the number is on an average 140 eggs per batch. They prefer clean water to breed, and they can also breed on dam surfaces or swamps and pools. Next is they can withstand dry and desiccation. It means they usually pass or over winter or over summer times. Usually they are breeding and their time of transmission is the rainy season, but they pass winter and summer season at their egg stage, and the egg can withstand dry and desiccation. And sometimes the eggs laid in a dry place, actually in a wet place, and if the water is dried, and the egg can be hatched after 2 to 3 years if it is again placed in a water body. So they are basically day biter, but we have information on night bait experiment. Though these are very old experiment, nearly 30 years ago, we did experiment in the Calcutta School of Tropical Medicine, that though they are basically day biters, during night they can also come to bite between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. and again between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. So during this 6 period, they become active, and for Aedes aegypti, a total of 16% they may come to bite during night, and for the Aedes albopictus, 10% they may come to bite during night. So basically they are day biters. They may be both anthropophilic and zoophilic, and the anthropophilic mosquitoes are medically important for transmitting dengue virus, Zika virus, chikungunya virus, etc. Their biting peak according to our experiment, it is 7 to 10 a.m. and 3 to 6 p.m. of the daytime. Next, please. The resting sites on mosquito nets, curtains, clothes, furniture, and behind pictures. And you can see that Aedes mosquitoes, they do not usually sit on the walls, because during 1953, the NMCP, National Malaria Control Program, and then converted into National Malaria Eradication Program in 1958. And during this period, DDT was sprayed on the walls, and from that time the Aedes mosquitoes adapted themselves not to sit on the wall to avoid DDT. So they usually take rest sitting on other places, like which has been shown in this slide. Next, please. This is the life cycle of Aedes albopictus mosquito. They usually lay eggs in the clean water singly, one after another. And next is within 2 to 3 days, the larvae are hatched out. The larvae are hatched out. They are bottom feeders. So usually they travel to the bottom for taking food, and again to the surface of the water for taking oxygen. So they are called wrigglers for their movement up and down. So where the depth of the water is more than 5 feet, they usually do not breed in that water body. So a big pond full of water is not dangerous for Aedes breeding, but small containers less than 5 feet of depth of water is very dangerous. Usually the clean waters for Aedes breeding. So they have got a container breeding habit. I will show some picture later on. Next is pupa. It is comma shaped. During the larval stage, they are vigorous feeders, but during pupal stage, they do not feed. And within 2 to 3 days, the adult one comes out from the pupal case. Next, please. The total life cycle is 7 to 10 days. It depends upon the temperature and humidity. So this is mode of infection. According to Hati, my teacher, former director of Calcutta School of Tropical Medicine, renowned medical entomologist, the mosquito can be infected by dengue virus from a patient within 4 days. I have already mentioned, from the onset of dengue infection. And actually the mosquito nurtures the virus within its body and can transmit after 8 to 11 days of getting infection. Next, please. So virus inoculation, virus is multiplied in all tissues of the mosquito. So after getting into the mosquito body, the virus is multiplied in all tissues, accumulated in the salivary gland at last, and inoculated through saliva into the skin for the healthy person. One important behavior of mosquito bite is the usually mosquito, before sucking blood, they actually pour a drop of saliva, because the saliva contains some anticoagulating agent. So to prevent coagulation within the capillary, they usually pour a drop of saliva before sucking blood. So as the viruses are accumulated in the salivary gland, so viruses are inoculated first, and then the mosquito sucks blood. So this is the mechanism of transmitting viruses within the human body. mosquito remains infected throughout its lifetime once infected. Very important. So mosquitoes, Aedes mosquitoes, once infected, they remain infected throughout its life, and when they bite a number of people, all the people are usually infected or suffer from dengue infection. The next point is very important, tensorboardial transmission. What is that? Tensorboardial transmission is the transmission of the virus within the mosquito, mother mosquito, through its reproductive system. Sorry. Transmission of the virus from the mother mosquito through its reproductive system to the next generation egg. This is called tensorboardial transmission. So without the presence of any human being or any reservoir, the virus can be transmitted or migrate from mother mosquito to its egg. And the next stage is called stadial transmission, when the virus is migrated from egg to larva, larva to pupa, and pupa to the next generation of mosquito. So when this tensorboardial transmission and stadial transmission operate together, usually without the presence of any reservoir, the virus can be transmitted from one generation of mosquito to the next generation of mosquito. So mosquito can also act as a very important reservoir, and for this reason, to eradicate dengue is a very tough problem. Next, please. So if we want to manage dengue, hemorrhagic fever, and other Aedes-borne viruses like chikungunya, Zika, etc., we have to find out the breeding places of mosquito. So if you can see some plastic jars, actually these plastic jars were excavated during the construction of metro rail in Kolkata during 1987 to 90, when these are excavated from the tunnel of the metro rails, and we found throughout a year-long study the contribution of metro rail construction in enhancing mosquito population in Kolkata metropolis. And you can see these larvae are present within the water accumulated, in the rainwater accumulated in these pots. So my intention is to show these breeding places, that we should be very cautious about these things, these small containers having clean water which can facilitate Aedes breeding. Next, please. So I have already mentioned where the water body having depth of more than 5 feet is not dangerous for Aedes breeding. So the river full of water, the Aedes mosquito cannot breed within this river. But if we can see this small water body beside this river, the Aedes mosquito can breed within this. So we should be cautious about all these small water bodies. Next, please. This is a glass jar having money plant, and usually we keep in our houses to get money. I don't know whether it can give money, but can mosquitoes, especially the Aedes mosquitoes, small container breeding habit. Next, please. Small water bodies beside the paddy field. The paddy field is the main breeding place for the Culex vishnui mosquito, which is the vector of Japanese encephalitis. But the small water body beside this field is dangerous for both Anopheles and Aedes breeding, which usually breed in clean water. Next, please. Very important information. This is a picture of a discarded tires, and in 2019 we published a paper in International Journal of Pest Management, where we actually presented that a tire, a bus or a truck tire, could contain 13 to 15 liters of rainwater, and a bus or a truck tire can contribute to produce nearly 4,000 Aedes mosquito in a month. A single tire in a month can produce 4,000 Aedes mosquitoes. So if we consider the picture of the left side, where the discarded tires are dumped, we can imagine that the contribution of this tire for accumulating rainwater and contributing. Next, please. We have also mentioned the process to avoid mosquito breeding. We can keep the discarded tires under a shed, either under a shed, or we can cover the tires with a plastic sheet like this, the left one, and also we can make an aperture at the underside of the tire for draining out of the accumulated water, which has been shown in this picture. Next, please. So these were our recommendations to avoid mosquito breeding related to the tires. So these are the discarded shoes, and if the shoes are made of plastic or any waterproof material, then in this be accumulated, and the mosquito can complete 1 or 2 generations within these small water bodies. Next, please. This is water accumulated after a spell of rain, can contribute to Aedes breeding. Next, please. So this is the tree hole, a very favorite breeding place for Aedes albopictus, and I should mention that usually Aedes aegypti mosquito, they usually breed in artificial containers, and Aedes albopictus, they usually breed in natural containers like tree hole. And if you see the picture, the whole of a cut papaya tree, you see the accumulation in the small amount of accumulated water within the trunk of this papaya tree, and we have seen a large number of Aedes mosquito. You can also see within this slide in the right side, the lower one, and you can see that a number of Aedes mosquitoes can be bred in these natural containers. Next, please. This is another tree hole. Next, please. So this is a fallen tree, and there is a furrow, and you can see that within the accumulated water, within the furrow of this plant, there is a number of Aedes mosquitoes. Next, please. So these are the discarded coconut shell, very good place for accumulation of rainwater and Aedes breeding. Next, please. We should cut a bamboo all the time just above the node. If you see a bamboo tree, there are nodes and internodes. So we should cut a bamboo always just above the node to avoid the accumulation of water in the bamboo holes, which is a very good breeding place for Aedes albopictus. So right side upper and the left side lower, you see the very good place for mosquito breeding, and all these are, next please. Next, all these are this is accumulation of water. Previous one. This is the accumulation of rainwater within the construction site. So all these are very favorite breeding place for the Aedes aegypti and albopictus mosquitoes. Next, please. So these are the bamboo holes. These are the coconut shell, and the right side lower is an earthen pot, and we found it in Kolkata. And in the Kolkata areas, under a tree, it was placed, and we found it is albopictus mosquitoes, though they are rural vectors in Calcutta metropolis. So this is a very clumsy picture that nowadays we are getting Aedes albopictus in the metropolis and also Aedes aegypti in the rural sectors. Next, please. So discarded urinary gutter, and we found it Aedes mosquitoes within the water accumulated here. Next, please. So these are the axils of banana plant. We should not usually plant any banana plant within the campus of our house, because the water accumulated with the axils of banana plant and also pineapple plant, the Aedes mosquito can breed. Next, please. discarded battery shell, right side, and this is you see the after worship the which we call in the earthen pot, which we call in Bengali the ghat, that has been not that have not actually given in the water body. So if it is placed any place of any under a tree or some other places, it can contribute to the Aedes breeding. Next, please. So if we go out for holidays for a minimum of 10 or 11 days or 15 days, we should cover the commode to avoid Aedes breeding. At the bottom of this commode accumulated water, you can see. Next, please. So this is a water body. Actually, myself, a consultant of mosquito control in New Town, Kolkata Development Authority, and when I first visited their office, we found this water body of 35 feet long, 15 feet wide, and the depth of water is 1.5 feet. And we found a number of Aedes mosquito larvae and Anopheles larvae here, and I recommended them to release a good number of ornamental fishes, any species of ornamental fishes, and they actually released some ornamental fishes. This is the picture of that, and within 1 month the water body became free of any mosquito larvae. Next, please. So gradually I have entered within the management of mosquito, and this is very interesting, whether mosquito can be beneficial. This is the question. So whether mosquito can be beneficial, because till this moment I have told about the harmful nature of the mosquito, but there are 72 species under a mosquito genus Toxodintitis. They are beneficial. Why? The first one is the female even of this species, of this genus, they do not suck blood, because their proboscis, the sucking organ, is bent downwards, and the serration or the teeth on their proboscis are not very sharp, so they cannot cut human body. They cannot cut human body and cannot suck blood. Female one, and you see the the left one is the left one upper is the male mosquito, and the right side upper is the female mosquito, and they are very colorful, very big mosquitoes. And the lower one is the photograph of the larvae. The larvae are also very big. The beneficial part of this larvae is that that they usually breed in those containers where Aedes mosquitoes breed, and they usually predate, these big larvae usually predate upon the Aedes mosquito larvae, and within 1 day, 24 hours, this one larva of Toxodintitis can predate upon more or less 40 Aedes mosquito. So this can be used as a biological control agent and natural vector control program within the capacity of natural vector control program for Aedes mosquito control. So this is a beneficial mosquito, cannot spread any disease. And there may be a question that though this mosquito cannot suck blood, how can their eggs are matured or developed for production of the next generation? The answer is, as during the larval stage, they are predatory upon the larva of other mosquito body, and they get sufficient amount of protein during the larval stage and use for the development and maturation of their eggs during their adult stage. Next, please. So this is our laboratory picture. You see that a big Toxodintitis larva is grasping gradually one Aedes larva from its head to the tail. Next, please. So how to prevent Aedes mosquitoes from having a feast on us? To wear shoes, socks, long pants, and long sleeve shirts during daytime, especially the children when they usually go to the school. we can use mosquito repellent, synthetic Odomos, and we have done a work on the neem oil in combination with mustard oil and coconut oil also. So 2% neem oil with mustard oil, and I mean 2% neem oil with 98% of mustard oil, and 4% neem oil with 96% of coconut oil can give more than 90% safety from the mosquito bite. Next, please. So we can use also mosquito coils and mosquito nets during night, and those who are in habits of sleeping during daytime should use mosquito nets also to avoid Aedes biting. Next, please. So control of adult vector mosquitoes, it is very difficult. Fogging can be done through pyrethroids like pyrethrum. Spraying may be done at the resting sites of the vector, especially in the cowsheds, piggeries, bushes, gardens adjacent to the human habitations, etc. Usually, we do not recommend spraying of this pyrethrum in the open places, especially in the roads, etc. The government people usually do this wrong thing. They usually spray pyrethrum on the roads, and during that period, as they are adult mosquitoes able to fly, they usually enter in our houses. So usually we do not recommend spraying pyrethrum in the open places. Especially we recommend it to spray under the staircases, in the meter rooms, etc., in the cowshed, etc., in the very small vicinities where the mosquitoes usually take rest during their daytime. So mosquito larvae can be controlled chemically by using timifos, very important and very useful chemical, 2.5 to 10 milligram per 10 liters of water to be sprayed on 50 square meter water surface weekly. And the next one is BTI, Bacillus thuringiensis, is the lensis wettable powder, 250 gram per 10 liter of water to be sprayed on 500 square meter water surface fortnightly. So these two are usually in practice by the government of India, and also we are using in the New Town Kolkata Development Authority for chemical control and also biological control, because BTI is a bacterial product. Next, please. So organized mosquito control campaign is very important, and community participation means the people who has some sort of knowledge on the mosquito, where they usually breed, how the virus actually works, it is spread. So the people who has some knowledge about the virus and the mosquito, they can spread their knowledge to the common people through small meetings like this, which is called community participation. And legal help, there is an example of legal help in Singapore. The municipality people usually visit the municipality usually visit households, and if they can find any kind of mosquito larvae in the water bodies within the chobachas and small facilities of the households, they usually make a fine of $25. So this is legal help. Next, please. Next. So this is the last slide. So I want to convey an information. Through this slide. You see, this is a giant, which is known as the vector-borne disease. The giant is the symbol of vector-borne disease. And you see a person within the abdomen of this giant, which is the representative of those people who have been killed by the infection of any or many vector-borne diseases like malaria, dengue hemorrhagic fever, and others. So, and you know that the Alexander the Great, he left India due to malaria infection. Most of his soldiers were infected with malaria. So Alexander the Great left India, and malaria is called a dramatic disease because it has killed a very good number of people, more number of people than the number which have been killed by the Second and First World War, and the total number of wars took place on this Earth surface. And that there are representatives of people who are at present suffering within the grip of this giant. So the people within the grip of this giant, they are the representative of those people who are at present suffering from mosquito-borne diseases or vector-borne diseases. For example, 120 million people, they are at present suffering throughout the tropics and subtropics by filariasis. And you see at the left side, there is a people, and the greedy eyes of this giant is on this people, and he is the representative of the people at risk. Usually, this is 3 times more than the people who are at present suffering. So this is a challenge to human civilization, and the human being is thinking how to combat this challenge. So you see, there are experts, doctor, health worker, technologists, municipality people, common people, different sectors of the society. They are doing their duties to combat this challenge, to actually solve this problem. But you see, there is a wall between the expert and the doctor. There is another wall between the doctor and the health worker, so on and so forth. So what they are doing in an isolated way. So what to do? For the first instance, we have to break this wall, and we have to go hand in hand in an integrated manner to combine all the methods and to select which one is applicable, which one is good, effective for a particular place, and that can be applied in an integrated way. So if we can go together, we must overcome, and there is this sign of success, the sun. So we can reach the sun, the success, if we can go together in an integrated way. Next, please. Thank you. Thank you for patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative and so lucid lecture that we enrich definitely. With your kind permission, I would like to start the question answer session.
Yes, yes.
Audience, if you have any question on this topic, you may ask.
I put a question in a chat, but I can say here, no, to Professor Gautam. So do you think that satellite remote sensing could be useful in anticipate condition linked to the dengue development? For example, on satellite we can measure temperature, precipitation, and other parameters.
Thank you. Good question. And we have come across a good number of papers where this GSI and other techniques of information system have been used to identify the breeding sources, because sometimes the breeding places, as they have got the container breeding habit, sometimes their breeding places are inaccessible. Very wide ranged breeding places and sometimes inaccessible. So to identify and to detect those breeding places, the GSI, the geographic information system like this are very useful.
Okay, thank you.
We have got a good number of papers which have been used to identify these breeding places, these techniques, geographical information system.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, whether there is any process to detect out or differentiate between infected mosquito and non-infected mosquito?
Actually, PCR can be done. PCR can be done, number one. Number two, actually, usually the mosquitoes are collected from the, actually wild mosquitoes are collected, and a pool is made, a pool of mosquito, 40, 50 like this, and there is a process for detection of viruses. And in this way, actually, these viruses have been detected or incriminated in some of the mosquito population. Those have been now recognized as the vector. So there is a process of viral detection in the mosquito population.
Sir, I want to know whether there is any behavioral differentiation.
Not yet reported. Not yet reported. No.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have another query, sir, regarding the transovarial transmission of
Yes.
that disease.
Yes.
But if there is a process of transmission of such type of disease transmission, then I think that all the mosquito will be, after a certain period, will be infected, and there will be no mosquito without disease symptom.
Actually, one thing is that the first infection within the mosquito should come from a reservoir,
Yes.
either a monkey or a man or a bird. Okay, so the infection rate in the reservoir is very less. Number one. So there for every disease, or every parasitic disease or any viral infection like this, the nature has a bearing to control it. So I have a very good paper on the natural bearing of control of phylogeny. You can see it in the parasites and vectors. So there is a good number of process of natural bearing of control. So in the nature, we can find a very less number of infected people, infected reservoir. This is number one. Number two, the longevity of the mosquito is not very long. They usually survive for 25 to 30 days. Though in the experimental condition, in the laboratory, we have found one Aedes mosquito to survive for 225 days. In the book, there is a mention of my teacher, Dr. Hati. So this is our experimental conditions. In nature, they usually survive for 25 to 30 days. So this is another natural bearing of control. So it is very difficult to, at a time, all the mosquitoes will be infected with virus. So it usually does not occur.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any temperature preference that dengue virus shows?
Actually, the virus does not show preference. Mosquito shows preference. The temperature of 25 to 30 degrees Celsius is the optimum temperature for the development of mosquitoes, which is the vector of viruses. The virus can be present in the cold areas also, in the temperate areas of the world. Okay, so there is no preference for virus. It has come 4 billion years ago on this earth, so their adaptive capability is very high.
Okay. Another question that is, which stage of dengue is more severe clinically in a patient?
Actually, for classical dengue, in Bengali we say if somebody is suffering from classical dengue, বাংলায় বলি যে ওষুধ খেলে 7 দিনে সারে, ওষুধ না খেলে 1 সপ্তাহে সারে। So they recovers within a week. Within 7 days if remain untreated, because there is no medicine. Only management is possible. So for a classical dengue, usually patient recovers. The classical dengue patient with warning symptoms, they usually suffer a long, and usually in most cases after a good management, they also recover. But for the dengue hemorrhagic fever, it is very difficult to manage the patient, especially if the platelet count is in a diminishing type of nature. So for the patients who in which the number of platelets actually are diminishing very rapidly, so this stage is very difficult. And if the patient enters into the grade 3, I have mentioned, which is the stage first stage of DSS, dengue shock syndrome, the patient usually do not recover from the third stage, usually third and fourth stage. So this is the most difficult for the dengue patient.
Thank you, sir. Another question that is, how many days are needed to increase platelets level after the recovery of dengue fever?
It is usually 1 to 1.5 months. One to 1.5 months after recovery.
Okay, sir. Next question that I have seen here. How long the immunity stayed in our body after recovery?
Actually, this is a very good question. If somebody suffers from a particular dengue serotype, usually he does not suffer from the same serotype throughout its life. So, but he may suffer from a different serotype, and in that case, he may also suffer from dengue hemorrhagic fever. We can detect IgM for 1 month and IgG for 6 months like this, but there is example of detection of IgG after 20 years of first infection.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
For your cooperation. I would like to end this question answer session here. And now I would request Dr. Tilak Das, please proceed further. And the next session is paper presentation session. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. All right. It's a lovely Wednesday afternoon. And hello and welcome to everyone present here. And very pleased to welcome all of you today for the last day of the e-conference on environment and sustainability. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here today with us. My name is Dr. Tilak Das, and I have the privilege to be the host today for this session, that is paper presentation. Now I would like to request to Dr. Stefano Sir, Professor Gautam Chandra Sir, and Dr. Sakai Sensei to chair this session. I welcome to all of you, sir. Before we get started, yes.
Pardon me. Please include Dr. Chandra, Ns1 Chandra in this chair also.
Because, okay, Dr. Ns1 Chandra, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Raja Mandirlal Khan Women's College, also participated to chair this session. I welcome to all of you, sir. Before we get started, just a little housekeeping. As we mentioned yesterday, the same instructions will be given to the presenters or the audiences. Please don't ask any question during the presentation. We have time to discuss the matter after ending the presentation. If you have any queries, just you can message it as you have done yesterday. To keep the quality of sound functional during the meeting, it's our humble request to you all, please mute yourself until you wish to ask question or your active participation. All presenters today, please maintain the time. 5 minutes will be given for your presentation and another 5 minutes will be used for the discussion purpose. At the same time, we humbly request to all presenters, once you join the meeting, please be remain in the platform except emergency purpose. This is required for the smooth functioning or conduction of the session. So just before the presentation will start, just I would like to mention one phrase for this e-conference. That is, we do not inherit this earth from our ancestor. We have borrowed it from our children. Means it's not like the property we have got from your ancestor. We have taken the earth from our children to live here, to use it, and again to return them without any modification or changes. With this concept, just first I would like to request Animesh Patra, School of Bioscience, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, to present their work on evolution of antimicrobial activity of sulfonamide derivatives. Please, Ns Patro, you can start your presentation.
Hello, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are audible. You can continue. Just you have to present your slide. Okay.
Okay, sir, just a minute. So, hi everyone. Good afternoon, one and all. I am Animesh Patra from School of Bioscience, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. My topic is evaluation of antimicrobial activity of sulfonamide derivative. So, the first question is that what is sulfonamide? It is synthetic antimicrobial sulfa drug. It prevents urinary tract infection, but it is also bacteriostatic in nature, basically. So this is the general structure of sulfonamide. So now there will be a question, what is bacteriostatic? This kind of drug can prevent the inhibition of bacterial growth or reproduction of bacteria. But sulfonamide has a problem. It has highly cytotoxicity. Basically, this is highly cytotoxic cellular compound. So for this reason, we have taken plant extract, coumarin, for reducing cytotoxicity. And the important thing is, what is coumarin? Coumarin, basically, this is the ingredient of turmeric. The next thing is that mode of action of sulfonamide. Basically, folic acid is a precursor molecule of purine and pyrimidine. Purine and pyrimidine are building block of DNA. If the folic acid production will stop, then DNA synthesis will be stopped. And sulfonamide is structural analog of para-amino benzoic acid, PABA. When sulfonamide attaches with pteridine, folic acid production will be stopped. This is mode of action of sulfonamide. Basically, here we have taken two derivatives of sulfonamide. One is sulfathiazole and another is sulfamethoxazole. Our molecules were provided Professor C.R. Sinha's lab, Analytical Chemistry, Jadavpur University. And the last part is experiment, procedure and result. And another important thing is that we have taken two bacteria. One is gram-positive bacteria and another is gram-negative bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria is Staphylococcus aureus and gram-negative bacteria is E. coli. So my first experiment is minimum inhibitory concentration, or MIC. So we have previously told our two derivative is sulfathiazole and methoxazole, and another important things is two bacteria, one is gram-positive, one is gram-negative. So this slide present gram-negative bacteria against sulfathiazole. This is gram-positive bacteria, Staphylococcus aureus, against sulfathiazole. This is E. coli against sulfamethoxazole, and the last one is Staphylococcus aureus, gram-positive bacteria against sulfamethoxazole. My second experiment is antibiotic sensitivity test.
Sorry to interrupt. Your slides
yes,
are not, your presentation is not visible. Your slides are not visible. Are you showing the slides?
Just a minute, ma'am.
You can click your PPT file. Okay. That
you first open your PPT file, your presentation file, and then share the screen. Then it would be visible to all.
Just a minute, ma'am. Visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Continue.
Okay, my second experiment is antibiotic sensitivity test. So this was sulfathiazole against Staphylococcus aureus. This was sulfathiazole against first one is sulfathiazole against Staphylococcus aureus. Second is sulfamethoxazole against Staphylococcus aureus. Third, and the next from gram-negative bacteria, sulfamethoxazole against E. coli. Okay, and the last experiment is MTT assay. MTT assay, basically this is a assay by which assay we can measure the cell viability or cellular cytotoxicity. Here we have taken Vero cell line. Basically this is a African monkey's kidney cell line, and check the cell viability against sulfathiazole and sulfamethoxazole. This is the data of sulfathiazole, and this is sulfamethoxazole. So here I end my presentation. Oh, sorry, this is my future work. We will check cell viability on different cell line, and the second one is reduce maximum cytotoxicity. And here I end my presentation, and then thank you all for your present hearing. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ns1 Patra, for your presentation. Now the topic is open for discussion.
Okay, okay, sir.
Sir, Dr. Chandra. Sir, Dr. Chandra.
Kindly stop your sharing of your PPT, then we can have your feedback live.
Any question from audience side?
Can I ask a question?
Definitely, sir.
Definitely, sir.
Can you throw light about the mode of action of these two things on the bacteria?
Just a minute, sir. I'm sharing my screen. Visible, sir?
Yes.
Yes, visible.
Yes, sir. So folic acid, basically this is a precursor molecule of purine and pyrimidine. So purine and pyrimidine, these are building block of DNA. If we can prevent the production of folic acid, so purine and pyrimidine synthesis will be stopped. So ultimate replication will be stopped, sir. And another important thing is that sulfur drug is a structural analog of PABA, para-amino-benzoic acid. So when sulfur drug attach with pyridine, so in that cases, folic acid production will be stopped, sir.
So what is the new thing actually you did?
Yes, sir.
What is the new thing? What is the new thing?
New things is we want to reduce the cellular cytotoxicity. For this reason, we have taken plant extract, coumarin, for reducing cytotoxicity. Basically, this is a mode of action of sulfonamide derivative.
So you have extracted coumarin from.
No, sir. Extracted coumarin, but the derivative of sulfonamide, sulfathiazole and methoxazole, it is sulfur drug and attached with coumarin, and these molecules were provided from Professor C.R. Sinha Lab, Analytical Chemistry, Yadavpur University.
Okay, that is the thing for the organism part. I want to ask that whether you isolated this coumarin from its origin, or you use this ready-made?
Sir, this from origin, but this work is done by Professor C.R. Sinha Lab.
Okay. Okay.
This is the chemistry part.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome, sir.
Thanks. Now I have some queries on Ms. Patro.
Okay, okay.
That okay. That you have
I would
mentioned.
request you to stop sharing the PPT because then the telecast of the kindly just stop
Okay,
sharing.
okay.
Okay, so my queries is that you mentioned that coumarin that has been extracted by another lab in the Jadavpur University.
Yes.
So my concern is that whether that coumarin is beneficial for the living organisms or not.
No, sir, beneficial. Definitely beneficial.
Beneficial.
Yes, sir. Yes.
There, if it is beneficial, whether you aware or not, that I don't know. It is banned in the USA in the year of 1954, and as far as my knowledge is concerned, that higher dose can cause liver damage, even different kind of cancers. Okay. So, agree with that?
Yes, sir.
You know.
Yes, sir. But this is a chemotherapeutic drug. Basically, every chemical has cytotoxicity. Cytotoxicity. So it has also cytotoxicity, but it higher cytotoxic than the other molecules.
Means you are saying that up to a certain level, it's not that much cytotoxic. If you consume more, that will be the effect of different health hazards like cancer or liver damage like that. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I am really wonder to know that turmeric is also present in the green tea.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I used to take early in the morning. So after knowing all those things, I am thinking to reduce that frequency of taking that green tea.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay. And
Yes.
another beneficial effect of that coumarin that I came to know that that Professor Gautam Chandra sir just described that dengue fever along with malaria like that. So anti-malarial drug is also isolated from a roots of a plant. That name of the plant is Stodelia ascitica. Okay,
Okay.
so that is having that coumarin. So that is used for the anti-malarial drug.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so
Yes, sir.
just for sharing all those things because you are working on that aspect, that is
Yes.
why it is cited here. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank
okay,
you, sir. Thank you.
okay. Thanks a lot, that Onimus Patro for your presentation, and now we'll move. Okay, so the next presenter is weak circle is there. Okay, so regarding this e-conference, environment and sustainability. So in order to get that sustainability, pollution is a major threat to nature, and it is the main culprit to achieve that sustainable development. Therefore, pollution level should be less, otherwise homeostasis will not be maintained between pollution and absorption capacity of nature. In addition to that, another major concern is non-biodegradable pollutants, which creates havoc in environment. Therefore, our approaches should be use more biodegradable components instead of non-biodegradable matter. With this goal, now I would like to request to Ovik Sarkar, please present their work on innovative use of bioplastic in the paint industry to effectively reduce pollution. Please, Ovik Sarkar.
Thank you, sir. So firstly, I thankful to the organizing authority for giving me a chance for attending and present my such a e-conference, international e-conference on environment and sustainability. So I now present my screen. Is my skin is visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Hello. Okay. Myself, Obi Sarkar, student of Vidyasagar University, by the assist of Priyanka Aldar Mollik, present my topic upon innovative use of bioplastic in paint industry to reduce pollution. From time of emerging, the Pandora's box of science gives us a lot of innovation, among which plastic is one such, without which our daily journey stuck at a point. But nowadays, it become turned into the headaches for many scientists because of its carbon footprint, non-biodegradability, difficulty in recycling, and many other things, such as it enter into the food chain. Now, when deep into the biodegradability chart of anything, we found that plastic bags take about 50 years and plastic bottles take for 50 years or much to degrade. That's why, as a cause of plastic pollution, we generally focus on this thing. But there are a small thing which needs mostly for everyone, each pen, which make from cheap plastic image polystyrene, which also not so much recycling in daily life, in our daily life. The production such plastic release a huge amount of chlorofluorocarbon, which is 1200 times much greenhouse effect than carbon dioxide. So it cause greenhouse effect and also air pollution. Not only this, now in the purpose of writing, we simply buy a pen, after use, throw it, which piles up with time and causes water and soil pollution and also harmful for animals, as you see in this picture. So finally, we titled such as plastic pen pollution. For against such plastic use, in Kerala, a campaign started in 2017 named as Pen Drive by Mrs. Lakshmi Menon, which reported by NDTV. This picture I taken from NDTV's site, search India ndtv.com. Some are proposed in this purpose about using wood pen, but statistical data says already in the purpose of making pencil, around 400k trees are cut down in a year. Someone say about use of fountain pen, but it's much costlier and too much tough to handle out in our first life. In this solvation of this problem by two local by Bhubaneswar, Mr. Pandey and Mr. Raza launches Green Pen project in July 2009 as reported by India Today, where they make pen by using paper at a price of 10 to 12 rupees per pen, but you generally not found such pen in local shops, and the big pen company are not take such initiative to make such pen. You can only find such pen in online services like Flipkart, Amazon, or any other e-commerce services, and with a high price tag. It's only its online review also not so much promising, as it not feel like plastic and not as tough as plastic. From that point, our research start finding a new alternative, and we find that we easily use bioplastic in that purpose. We already use bioplastic in our daily life home products such as the mattresses, carpets, shoes, sandals, sunglasses, chairs, toiletries, waste bin, and food packaging purposes. If you look into the life cycle of bioplastic, we found that it makes generally from cassava, legumes, sugarcane, corn by some chemical procedure, and it makes from plants. It can easily decomposes with soil by the digestion of enzyme through the help of bacteria and fungi. As an experimental trial, we make it at home, at see in the picture, and the result was so much promising for the future use. These seeds are filled like plastic, also tough enough to in the purpose of making pen. Due to lack of molding machine, we not able to give it proper barrel shape like a pen. As we previously said that it feel like plastic, we overcome one parameter, but the problem with cost effectivity. We need more analysis upon such thing. Actually, this is under progress project, which I primarily take as an initiative of making awareness among people to leave the mentality of use and throw. Not only pen, but another plastic material also. And finally, end with a new innovative idea of using bioplastic in the field of pen industry. Thank you for your attention and for giving me a chance to present such presentation in that e-conference.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot for your presentation. Now the topic is open for discussion.
Okay, sir.
So any question from the audience side? Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Please carry on.
you are producing bioplastic in your laboratory?
No, sir. Actually, this project I made at home as bioplastic making is very easy. We can easily make from starch, cornstarch at home, and the procedure is same. But analysis and the durability and the strength of this plastic analysis is needs a lab, and which we take after the opening of my university, and then we work upon this.
What will be the ingredient of your bioplastics?
Ingredient is starch, mainly cornstarch, and we can also make from sugar cane. Mainly the material is starch, and we also make it from cellulose, protein, etc. But it's not too much cost effective, and that's why starch is best in that purpose.
Okay.
Now, my humble query to you, Ovik Sarkar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is the demerits of bioplastic?
Bioplastic first demerit is that it is very much cost effective than conventional plastic, and also it also after throwing it into the
Sorry. It is cost effective, or cost is more involved to produce that bioplastic. Cost effective means you can make it with a minimum price, right?
No, actually, I try to say it much more price than that conventional plastic, which we
Okay.
which already marketed. And another point is that after after enter into the environment, it also produce methane gas, which also harmful for environment. But using this methane gas, we can also produce energy, and from that another area of earning is open.
Okay, so that management of methane is very important, because bioplastics can produce significant amount of methane, and we know the role of methane in the environment, because that e-conference is on that environment and sustainability. So
Yes, sir.
global warming and climate change is the major threat against that sustainable development. So if you consider on that aspect, then it will be very fruitful.
As I said, sir, previously, then the conventional plastic pen which made by polystyrene, which is 1200 times more dangerous than CO2, and
Yeah.
which and also it causes the water and soil pollution after it use. And in that purpose, in comparing between these two things, we say bioplastic is far better than the conventional plastic.
Yeah, I understand your statement that you are mentioning, in compared to the traditional plastic, that bioplastic is more useful and it is less harmful. But still, we have to concentrate that methane production should be is under control. Otherwise, we know the effect of methane in environment. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Now, one of the important strategy to achieve sustainable development in healthcare sector is to use more Ayurvedic system, Tibetan system, folk system, and Unani system medicine than modern system medicine, as chemicals used is having potential side effect in living organisms. Keeping in this mind, now I would like to request to Pratima Mandal to present their work on effect of citrus sinensis pill on the blood sugar level in the diabetic white rat. Please, Pratima Mandal.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I am Pratima Mandal, going to present my work on the effect of citrus sinensis on the visible?
No, your presentation is not visible.
Yeah. You have to open your slide first. Presentation first, you have to open your presentation, then share it.
Okay, sir.
No.
So am I visible now?
No.
If you are not unable to present your slide, please continue your presentation.
Continue your presentation without slide sharing.
So can I continue?
Yes.
Yeah, you can continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. My topic effect of citrus sinensis on the blood sugar level, diabetic pancreas. I am SBSS Mahavidyalaya, Department of Zoology, and I performed this experiment under the guidance of Dr. Kartik Maiti from Raja NL Khan Women's College, Department of Zoology, and my co-author is Momita Bahubalendra from Ramchandrapur, Raisuddin High School. Introduction: the orange is usually a citrus fruit which is originated in the north-southern China, northeast India, and Myanmar. Orange trees are widely grown in the tropical and subtropical climate for the sweet fruit. The fruit of this orange tree are eaten fresh or processed for its juice. The main ingredients of the orange peel are flavonoids. The main of vitamin C and small amounts of vitamin A and vitamin B complex. It
You
also
open your
contains
video. You open your video. Yes. audio is also off.
Hello, Pratima Mandal, can you hear me?
Yes, that is.
The body mainly this contains various riboflavins, flavonoids, which mainly guards the insulin, affects the insulin and produced by the body. This disease, these peels are usually extracted in the various processes. The diabetes mellitus, which is a major disease in this present scenario. This peel mainly contains dietary fiber, which produces a lot of dietary fiber helps in the production. The pancreas mainly releases the insulin into the bloodstream. When the amount of blood sugar increases in the blood, then it is known as hyperglycemia, or commonly which is known as the high blood sugar. The orange peels are the main source which contains various hesperidin, flavonoids, and various triglycerides. And the main aim of my study is to evaluate the effect of this sweet orange peel on the blood glucose level of diabetic rats. The materials mainly used are the orange peels, the rats, and the diet. The orange peels are the variety mainly used in this process are the Citrus sinensis. The peels which are obtained from the orange which is obtained from the local market are peeled off, and the peels are dried in an air dryer oven at a temperature of about 45 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. Then a milling apparatus is used. In a fine sieve, the powder is obtained. The rats are usually white albino rats, which are weighing about 140 to 200 grams in this research work. The rats are usually taken and kept in hygienic conditions and controlled laboratory conditions where the temperature is around 26 degrees Celsius under lighting and ventilation. They were given food and tap water for control checked diet, and the diet which is used is mainly vitamin mixture and salt mixture. The experimental design mainly consists of the adult rats, which are the albino rats. They were taken and kept for about 10 days for adaptation in the normal environment. They were divided mainly into 4 groups. The first group is the mainly normal group, which are the control, given only standard diet and nothing else was provided to them. And this group is served as the control group. The next group are the group 2, 3, and 4. These 3 groups were given Alexion anhydride at the rate of 150 mg per kg body weight and injected into the body. Then, after 6 hours of injecting, the blood samples were collected from the by the retroorbital method to estimate mainly the serum glucose level in the fasting sugar. These three diabetic groups were then provided after a certain time. They were provided with the orange peel extract in the rate of 10 mg per kg, 20 mg per kg, and 30 mg per kg orange peel for 60 days. At the end of the experimental period, these orange peels, these rats were sacrificed under anesthetic conditions, and the blood were collected from the hepatic portal vein in dry centrifuge tubes. Then the serum was separated in the centrifuge at the room temperature and in a centrifuge machine at 4,000 revolutions per minute rate for 20 minutes, and the serum was collected in the plastic vial and kept at a temperature of -20 degrees Celsius till analysis. The main methods used were the chemical analysis of the pills, where the crude protein, fiber, fat, and the ash contents were determined, followed by the method of the AOC 1995. Next, the biochemical parameters. The enzymatic calorimetric method was used to determine the serum glucose level according to Kaplan. And the statistical analysis, the data served expressed as the mean standard deviation and one-way ANOVA was used where P was less than 0.05 for testing all the normal variances. In the result and discussions in the table, in the first table, I want to show the orange peels contains mainly 1.43 grams of protein per 100 grams of total orange peel. Fat was around 2.0 grams. Fiber was 9.35 grams. Ash was 6.75 grams, and the carbohydrate was 80.47 grams, which was the total. The meat dietary fiber was 9.35 grams of 9.35 grams per 100 grams of dried orange peels, representing about one-third of the total recommended daily intake. The dietary fiber is the main fundamental and remains intact in the fiber-rich fruits. These fiber-rich fruits are mainly the fruits, vegetables, legumes, and the whole grains, and are widely known to have give beneficial effects on the health of the adults. As recommended, it can be given as 25 grams per day for an adult woman and 38 grams per day for an adult man. According to Mac Rory, the risk of the cardiovascular disease can be prevented by the intake of the high dietary fiber. In the table 2, I want to show that the blood glucose level of the controlled group of rats was around 89.80, which was a normal. And then in case of group 2, in the next 3 groups and before only after applying the monoelection anhydrous, the result comes around 389.20. And after the application of the orange pills in group 2, it was around 289.40. In group 3, it was around 258.90. And in group 4, it was around 218.50. These are the rates. As I can say that the table showed that the blood glucose level gradually decreased in the diabetic rats after around 2 months. After 2 months, with the increase in the supplementary dose of the orange peels. These results are in agreement. Okay. Okay. According to different scientists like Joseph et al. And Shipai et al., all these scientists also give such a only the pectin, which is mainly present in the fiber, mainly reduces the blood sugar. And now the conclusion from this study, we come to a conclusion that the orange peels are a rich source of fiber that is main intrinsic and intact food in the whole food system, and the antioxidant is also very effective. This study observed a significant reduction in the blood glucose level after high dose intake in the orange pills. Thank you everyone for giving me time and listening my paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Pratibha Mandal, for your presentation. Now your topic is open for discussion.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Yes. Please continue, sir.
Okay, sir.
Your work is very good. I am impressed by your work, but I have some queries, not a question. Number one, how could you determine the dose? How could you determine the dose? It should not be arbitrary. Number one. Number two, what is the active ingredient That is the chemicals which is only responsible to reduce the sugar level in the blood of the rat. These are the two questions. Maybe is it possible for you to say the answer?
Sir,
How could
actually
you determine the dose? First of all, how could you determine? You say some dose are there at the 10 milligram per kg body weight. It's okay, but how could you determine the dose?
It was no certain, just only it was an arbitrary
No.
one.
Whenever you are going to establish a good work, but you have to know the dose. Dose is very important. Have you got any references regarding this? Regarding the selection of dose?
Regarding selection of dose, in one of the paper there was a body percentage given that where
Percentage is there. Body percentage is there. It is okay. 20 kg per kg body weight. You have selected 10 kg per kg, 10 milligram per kg body weight. Everything is okay. But if you want to establish your work, or if you want to publish your paper in a very good journal or any journal, reviewer makes a comment that how to determine the dose. This is very important. You have to think about it, or you have to consult your guide. Number one. Number two, you are talking about the orange peel. That is you have dried in an oven. I don't know which particular. There are so many chemicals are there in that orange peel. But which particular chemicals, you have to do this work. It is not possible at this present moment, but which particular chemicals is responsible, because there are so many chemicals maybe there. You don't know which chemicals is responsible to decrease the amount of glucose level in the blood of rat. So you have to see these things. This is my suggestion, not my question. This is my suggestion. Okay? It's okay. Very good. Very good. I am very happy. Okay.
Isolation is a must.
Anyone have any more question or queries like that? So Pratima Mandal madam,
Okay, sir.
just I would like to ask something, that you have taken that orange peel, dried it in oven at what you have mentioned, 45 degrees centigrade or like that.
Yes.
Then 45, right?
Yes, 45 degrees Celsius.
45 degrees Celsius, and then you make the dust. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you mentioned that peel contains fiber, vitamin C, polyphenols, provision A, folate, riboflavin, thiamine, vitamin B6, and calcium, so on.
Yes, sir.
So the question is, which ingredients particularly reduce the blood glucose level in rat? That is very important, because you are giving the crude one, right?
Yeah.
So
Actually, our work is
okay.
yes, sorry.
You continue. Whatever you no, Mike. That what I am just want to know, that which part is important to reduce the blood glucose level. That is more important. Otherwise, what Dr. Parthopratim Chakraborty sir asked, or that queried, that is very important, because until and unless you don't know that which part of the peel extract is responsible to reduce the blood glucose level, it will be very difficult to measure or to create that concentration. Okay, then only you can able to say this part, suppose polyphenols or vitamin C or whatever you have mentioned, the different components, that which part is responsible for that, because we know to that mechanism action of insulin. that mechanism of action of insulin is multi-way. If that target organ is not having that, target cell is not having that receptor, then diabetes can occur. Okay. At the same time, that endocrine cell, which is not synthesizing that particular hormone, it is not working, which we have know that in case of type of diabetes 1. So it's very urgent, or it's very important to know which part is important to take the role to reduce the blood glucose level.
Blood glucose level, mainly the dietary fiber, which is present in a large amount, that is about 9.35 grams per 100 grams. That is the main component which controls the blood sugar level.
Okay, then you have to streamline your work. Then you have to extract that fiber, and you can go for that to determine the dose.
Our work is under process.
Okay, then thank you, Pratima Mandal, for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We know them. Without its presence, ecosystem would be dramatically different or cease to exist altogether. These kind of interactions are vital to keep the environment in pristine. Now we'll be familiar with a species which helps to keep the ecosystem in homeostasis condition. Now I take this opportunity to invite Samaresh Samanto to present their work on role of Laternula truncata, Lamarck 1818, in maintaining the biological integrity of West Bengal coastal region. So please, S. Samanto, continue your presentation. Samaresh Samanto, please.
Where is Samantha?
Samaresh Samanto is in the room. Samaresh Samanto, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello?
I am hearing. You can hearing?
Yeah. Just you present your slide.
Yes, I am sharing my screen. Is the screen visible? Hello.
It's not coming properly. Hello, it's not coming properly. Just you put your first slide or title slide like that. Just it's sharing your computer screen. Yeah. Now it's coming. Okay. Carry on.
Yes. So, good afternoon, everyone. Now I am presenting my work. The Laternula truncata in maintaining of biological integrity of West Bengal coastal region. As far as the topic of conference is concerned, that is environment and sustainability. So there are so many species already we have known, and already we have unknown that have a good role to maintain the ecosystem sustainability, and also that are very beneficial for our daily life needs, like medicine, etc. So, in introduction part, I am saying that coastal region, particularly by the side, at near Sarka estuary, where the site is very beautiful and virgin forest. Now this is in degraded condition. So due to some human interferences, that is mainly local people interfere with their fishing, trawling, etc., etc. So some very important species are going to be threatened, and one of species, threatened species, or actually very unknown to us, that we are in India or in West Bengal region. So Latanola toncata is very important species. So keeping this mind, I am select the particular bivalve species. Actually play a vital role in making the interactions, soil, organic carbon, soil fertility factors. So this is the introduction part. Next, I have methodology selected and followed for the present purpose is this is the picture I am present here for unearthing the species from the study site. The study was done during 2018 July to 2019 June. This team heavily we are engaged for the unearthing the species. Randomly, we have the sample with a quadrant 1 meter square area population. Individuals collected from that and counted their group, different size classes, and their length, mainly cell have been recorded. Literature present et al. In 2008 on biological, morphological, ecological one the same species, and I put the paper for the identification of the specimen. Next, this is the method. Actually, they are buried with fauna found in a particular coastal region, and by the process they to maintain the integrity of the coastal belt. Next result, actually study site. This is the study mud flats and sand flats with degraded mangrove vegetation. In macro many associated fauna, other important fauna. That we recorded the length was actually one from Philippines. They have recorded largest specimen is 9 centimeter, but average 6 centimeter specimen length have been occurred, and we have recorded as smallest 1.6 centimeter and highest largest 7.6 centimeter, but their burrow depth was recorded 6 to 14 centimeter. Some information regarding the animals. This is the picture of animal trunk at the uppermost part. This is the side extended, but always side sand is still of this is very thin. There are so many concentric rings. This determines the growth from juvenile to adult growth. Denotes these concentric rings, and one particular characteristic of this species is that every individual cells have an vertical breakthrough from the through the cell. So commonly this bivalve is known as truncated bivalve or lantern can. In the West Pacific, they are dominated 6 centimeter length, and they are inter area not found in as those bacteria and they are mainly swimming lava. They developed in village through trophophore, but IUCN category evaluated some papers. I have found that they recognize it as a living fossil. Although it is very known that some fish like shellfish-like animal have important fat omega-3 or omega-6 foods that are very beneficial for human being. Yet this is written by local people or we who are in the West Bengal, but it is very much consumed by the Philippines. And commercially, this is marketed in their local market, but yet it is no harmful for the human being. So after collection of the specimen, I have dissected out. This is the part of siphon. This is the mantle, and these are foot region. And after removal of total cell from the specimen, the right side is found like that. So some important chemical parameters we recorded during the study. Mostly sand, silt, clay, organic carbon, salinity, population density. Actually, human threatened is there, so very low population density of the among the adult individuals we have recorded. Next is their burrowing technique. Actually, burrowing technique we observed in the field visit, and we have collected some fresh specimen, adult fresh specimen, and we set up a aquarium in the laboratory. And from the field, we bring the soil and sea water and leave them with the aquarium and follow their burrowing capacity. Burrowing behavior we have followed. Some associated mangrove species that we have recorded that we have found during the field visits, that is the Acanthus, Abyssinia, Salicornia, Iponia, etc. And so this is the gluconum sculpta. It's also a very important bivalve, and yet no work on the gluconum sculpta have not been done. This is very important bivalve, also associated with the lingular truncata. Actually, two species of Lateral truncata have been recorded from the West Bengal. Actually, one is the Lateral truncata and another is Lateral angina. But we have focused in the present time for the Lateral truncata. And this is the Lingular anatina. I have completed my thesis on this animal. This is a high population of Lingular anatina with the associated condition of Lateral truncata. And this is the another important associated that is Paralytis indica at the species. We have detected with their nest and the animal is moving apart from the tube. This is the next another. This is the peculiar another Nematian species, also heavy amount in that particular area, but particularly that these species this region white in color. This is the proboscis of the Nematian species. It is very much interesting that the Nematian species is smaller than the total length of the proboscis. It's also a tigers, the horseshoe crab, commonly known as horseshoe crab, found in that area. Now let's part discussion. So bioecology of Lateral truncata has been reported from Sola Marprat. For present time, West Bengal regions of truncata in this area is in danger of interferences. Low strategy we have recorded for that region. For that reason, and sedimentary structure composition is changing every time. Human interactions, ecological engineering activated by the process of bioregulation. They pull up they actually leave the bark, they on their nest with the mantle with the help of their food, with the help of their cell, physical processes, chemical and by the process they bubble the soil and the water of that sediment area or that ecosystem area, and help in nutrition, nutrients exchange that particular ecosystem. Gautam made the environment more comfortable for the juvenile silphate. So there are so many benthic macrobenthos animals have been found. They are with the association of Lamina truncata. It is possible as when Lamina truncata refixing the sediment, then upper part of the sediment become very cleaner, very comfortable for the juvenile all those animals, that is gluconomes, etc. The burrowing activities can directly break the downward the hardness of the soil. So this is the reason the juvenile sediments become comfortable. Burrowing also affects soil chemistry and associated microbial processes. Some microbes are found in their burrow that increase soil oxidation and poor water salinity. For this reason, we have observed their burrowing behavior, and we group their burrowing activity in part to extend their food penetration of the sediment, or by the dilation and insertion of the cell into the sediment by contraction of the pedal. Retractor burrow of star species can selectively trap sediments that have high organic matter concentration. Finer size, low density through the interaction of with water, which facilitated organic matter decomposition. So, as far as we know that mangrove ecosystem is very much productive ecosystem, so their organic matter decomposition is very essential. And for the reorientation of the sediment, organic matter decomposition become very in good nutrient availability become available, become more easier for the promoting the lives and other burrowing activities performed by the species make those of the habitat more smooth and comfortable for larval deposition and settlement of living species. Also, and glucose culture that I have told already, hypothesis that is the high possibility of colon and for due to the favorable condition that has been created by the activity of the. So, in conclusion, telling that being an important part of the data in the India, integrity of coastal region of their India through their ecosystem as process. So with this, I am.
Okay, Samaras Samanto, thanks for your presentation. We apologize that sound was not clear due to some technical problem. Anyway, now no, it's not the problem of you or not the problem of mine. It's the problem of technology. So okay, still we now the topic is now open for discussion.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Samanto, I have some queries.
Yes.
I think is it intertidal fauna? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes. Yes. This is intertidal fauna.
Is it indicator species?
No, no work on that purpose have not yet been done. It may be indicator or may not be indicator. Actually, from the earlier work, I am concluding that as it is eaten by the Philippines, they have good nutritive value. And as far as we have concerned that the sea animal or coastal region animal have good omega-3 fatty acid conditions. If and during this pandemic situation, we have already concerned that omega-3 fatty acids have a role to manage the cytokine storms that is created by the coronavirus. So if through proper way we can consume this species, it can help a human being for that purpose. But this is as it is indicator species or not is yet it is not clear, and more study should be organized.
Any role in mangrove conservation?
So
have you seen?
These species have no role for mangrove conservation, but its role is that the mangrove, when mangrove matured mangrove leaves fallen into the sediment and decompose, they transform these. They can transform these component of the mangrove leaves through the for the environment that can help the other animals for their feeding, nesting, etc.
Like nutrient cycling.
Yes,
Okay.
nutrient cycling. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone?
So
No
if there
questions
is
from
any
audience
other
side?
query, you can mail me, you can message me. Every pathway is open for all of you for future interaction.
Okay, Dr. Somara Samanto, just I have one clarification. Clarification means that you have mentioned that Laternula tarnacata is helping a lot for other species for their recolonization and settlement like that.
Yes.
So whatever the species you have mentioned that they help, they get help from that Laternula. If you can confirm that without that Laternula tarnacata, these species can recolonize or they can settle.
No,
Have you any studied this kind of work?
No,
Means without that, yeah. Continue.
Actually, there are actually they help through their biotopy activities. They break down the hardness of the topsoil. They refluxing the nutrient material within the ecosystem through their biodiversity activities.
That's true.
These process they can these species can help the other species, and other way lingular anatina, the other associated animal fauna, that is glucomons carta, lingula anata, they also live there. They also can biodiversity animal. They also
Means
can,
means what I am asking that linguala anatina, okay, or other species whatever you mentioned, without the help of Laternula they can recognize, right?
Yes. Without
Okay. That's my clarification. Nothing else. Okay. Any more questions from the audience side?
I think there is a burrowing activity of this particular species in the coastal region.
Actually, coastal animal, every coastal animal have their own burrowing technology.
Yes.
So it is one of the strategy for that species, and other strategies should be found for the Gluconomus carta and for the Lingulaneta and for other species. Every species living there, they have a own burrowing technology.
Yes, but I want to add with you that this type of activity can causes the soil erosion also.
No, actually, soil erosion is a broad spectrum. There are so many factors. The individual solely cannot, I think, cannot solely play a good role for the soil erosion. Because with the tidal inundation, every day 2 times, soil deposition also have been over there.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Somaras, for your nice presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hoping all clarifications are clear. We have come to the end of our last day's e-conference paper presentation session. I would like to thank everyone who made this meeting possible, and I thank all presenters for his or her presentation. Thank you all once again for your participation, and we appreciate you being here. I'm sure we all have lots to take back from this e-conference. Now over to Dr. Sujoy Midda, Joint Secretary of this e-conference and HOD, Department of Zoology Undergraduate, Raja Narendra Lal Khan Women's College Autonomous, for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Tilak Das. Honorable Principal Madam, respected Professor Gautam Chandra, and Dr. Stefano, and all others participants. It's my privilege to have been asked to proceed a vote of thanks on this occasion of 2 days International E-Conference on Environment and Sustainability. I, Dr. S. Midda, on behalf of the Joint Organizing Secretary, Raja N. L. Khan Women's College Autonomous, extend a very heartily vote of thanks to honorable delegates who blessed us with their presence and took out valuable time of your busy schedule. I must mention our deep sense of gratitude for Professor Gautam Chandra for his valuable speech on dengue and its management. And also, we also like to thank Dr. Stefano for his valuable speech on observing ocean environment from satellite. We also wish to express our gratitude to our principal ma'am, Dr. Jayashree Laha, for providing encouragement and support to organize this type of event. We heartily congratulate to all the participants and presenters for their active participation and cooperation to compile the day 2 events. As no program can become successful with a single person, so I can extend my big thanks to our department colleague, IQSC of our college and office staff members for their active support to make this event successful. And thank you all who contributed to this event. Last, a big thanks to all once again. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of the participants, all of the listeners, and at the Google Meet and also at the YouTube section. Okay, Dr. Chandra,
Okay, thank you.
can you say something?
No, Professor Sakai is trying to say something.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Okay,
for the organization of this wonderful meeting. So also to the organizer, I think that they did a lot of work and we were able to be all together here without a very little technical problem. So I think very successful from a scientific point of view and technical point of view.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your joining.
Thank you so much